This is the Connaught Compliance Handicap Hurdle, Connaught being the sponsors of Paul Nicholls' yard. Non-runners, King's Head, Jamie Moore on 7.
So the favourite here, Bleu, Richard Johnson riding for Philip Hobbs. This is a horse who's done nothing wrong so far this year, and they're coming in for it as well. 9-4. Connaught was what our paddock picked. Gorgeous looking horse this for Evan Williams. Very different type to the sort he has normally.
Well, he got beaten by 2 good horses last year, or beat 2 good horses, Pevensey and Omniposia. Put either of those in here and you'd be talking about a short price favourite, and he looks fit enough to do himself justice. He'd be certainly on my short list.
Only form in maiden hurdles, but he is a 1.25 mile winner on the flat, isn't he?
Yeah, I was very keen on the chances of the horse that's come out, King's Head's Gary Moore. It's interesting that Jamie swapped onto their other Sebastiano. Didn't do anything special in France, but he looks the type, and you just wonder whether the fact that he's swapped over is a huge plus.
They're so dangerous in these handicap hurdles, aren't they, the Moore team? Sebastiano and Connaught were our paddock tips. Connaught on the course, Armour multiple and Bleu positives in the betting ring. Connaught is the negative. Take the Breeze, the negative on the exchanges. They're coming forward.
Now indeed, Alice, for the Connaught Compliance Handicap Hurdle, the extended 2-mile trip. And they're off, the well back to More Multiple and Man or Son, the first 2 to break the line. The rear of the field, Connaught, who was enthusiastic on the way to post, is taking quite a keen hold in the yellow with the red star towards the rear of the field. And also Bob Mountain is racing keenly as Bleu moves alongside a More Multiple and Man or Son to make a line of 3 at the first, and Bleu is going to jump on and take the lead. Trouble at Bay rose in 4th place ahead of in 5th Border Castle, who's also racing quite keenly. In 6th is Sebastiano, then behind these the grey, which is Take the Breeze, Mr. Benedictine. Connaught still racing quite fiercely, and last of all is Bob Mountain. Quite a few of these are under hefty restraint at the back of the field, and there's already about 12 to 15 lengths first to last, despite the fact the gallop appears reasonable but not frantic, as Bleu leads the turn away from the stands by a length from Man or Son. A More Multiple in the orange and maroon colours, the 11-2 and well-backed 3rd favourite. Bleu, the 2-1 market leader, at the head of affairs, and Connaught at 9-2 is 1 from the back, still racing keenly. Now the horse prominent in the market there, the grey Take the Breeze, at 7-1. It's currently in about 7th place as Mr. Benedictine brushes through the top of that flight of hurdles. So Bleu narrowly from Man or Son. It's about half a length between the pair. In 3rd is a More Multiple. Border Castles move through into 4th place from Trouble at Bay and Sebastiano as they prepare to meet the next flight, at which Man or Son pitches badly on landing, dragged a hind leg and stumbled quite severely. Dominic Ellsworth sat tight. It cost the horse only about a length or so, but may have sapped some of those energy reserves for later in the race, as Connaught leads by a length from Man or Son. A More Multiple and Border Castle, they've been just about the front quartet throughout from Trouble at Bay. Take the Breeze, the grey, Sebastiano, now the mount of Jamie Moore towards the inside in red and white. As the leaders take the next. Over it, Connaught still only has 1 behind. Mr. Benedictine's just in front of him. And it's Bob Mountain who's behind him, as they now, a little more tightly grouped, begin to make the turn after taking this fight. Man or Son and Bleu side by side. From a More Multiple on the outside of Border Castle. Trouble at Bay. Take the Breeze. The grey improving up on the outside. Sebastiano comes next. Mr. Benedictine, no move yet from Connaught. Still at the rear of the field is Bob Mountain. So Bleu now long run towards the 3rd last flight of hurdles. In the light blue from the darker blue of Man or Son. 3 wide and More Multiple. They've been the first 3 throughout. Border Castle towards the inside, the white sleeves. They begin to bunch up. Trouble at Bay. Then Mr. Benedictine on the outside of Sebastiano. Still no move from Connaught, who's at the rear of the field in the yellow and red, alongside Bob Mountain in the white cap. So turning for home. Out in front, Bleu by a neck. Man or Son's been a constant pursuer of the leader. Border Castle on the inside of a More Multiple. Take the Breeze, the grey from Sebastiano. Still tightly grouped. Trouble at Bay comes next. Stands side Bob Mountain towards the inside. Connaught now begins to try and make a move. Mr. Benedictine is also improving. Bleu leads from Man or Son. A More Multiple. Mr. Benedictine towards the far side. First one to be in real trouble is Bob Mountain, but Bleu's tried to kick on here, but out towards the outside, Take the Breeze has moved fluently into second with Sebastiano and Mr. Benedictine. Connaught hasn't found a great deal when shaken up. Bleu's got a real fight in his hands now. Mr. Benedictine in the chocolate colours moves through to now take a narrow advantage. Mr. Benedictine, the grey on the outside, Take the Breeze. Trouble at Bay is rallying the far side. Bleu is still battling on. Mr. Benedictine, Bleu out towards the centre of the course. Trouble at Bay continuing to stick on for pressure. Then Border Castle and Sebastiano, and it's all changes. Trouble at Bay grinds his way to the front and has a 2-length lead at the final flight. And over it, Trouble at Bay leads by about 2 to 3 lengths from, or in second place, Bleu. Sebastiano has beaten back into third place now as Border Castle stays on into second, and driven up towards the line. Trouble at Bay took over at the last and has run home to beat Border Castle. Trouble at Bay beat Border Castle. In third place was Bleu. Mr. Benedictine, Sebastiano no closer than fifth. Bob Mountain ran through beaten horses. Take the Breeze dropped out in the closing stages, as did a more multiple Man or Son, and Connaught never got into it. So Trouble at Bay has scored for Alan King in the hands of Charles Huxley and the colours of Nigel Bunter.
Got it. Trouble at Bay returned the 9-1 clear fifth favourite. Beats Border Castle at 25-1. Bleu was third. They gambled on 2-1 favourite. And this was the race that the voice of racing, Sir Peter O'Sullivan, who's 90 on Monday, won it with his little Ativo 32 years ago. Ativo won this handicap hurdle. Today, Trouble at Bay. He's no Ativo, though. Happy birthday to Sir Peter on Monday.
Well, great to see Trouble at Bay winning again, because Alan King certainly felt that the handicap had got hold of him after that run in the Greatwood.
Yeah, he did a little bit. He's been out in the wilds somewhat. He started favourite for the Triumph, the race that Made in Japan won. And I've always thought he lacked a little bit of size, really. He never took to chasing. He had 3 or 4 runs, but they've got his confidence back. He ran in the Greatwoods, given another boost through Pigeon Island and Osana to the chances of size in Europe. But he was always travelling well, and he's just come down in the weights a little bit. And Charlie Huxley's given him plenty of confidence too. So no, it was good to see him back, this little horse. Takes a useful £7 off of his back.
Good day, Frank.